All right, man. Sorry, man. My live got disconnected. Let's continue this joint.
Because I didn't want to be there. My spirit just was not feeling it, right? And so that caused.
Let me share let me share this live stream, man. My shit got fucked up. Sorry, y'all. Every time somebody hits me up, my live stream gets fucked up, man. I hate that shit. That's why I don't like going live on my phone, man. I should have did it on my laptop, but let me see if more people will come on. We had a good amount of people. My bad. My shit got fucking disrupted by somebody that just fucking called, fuck my shit up. All right, sounds good, man. What's good? Edwin Kelly. All right, man. Looks like we back on. Sorry about that, y'all. This is just continuation, part 2. You know, same night, same theme. I had to split this up into 2 parts. Please, nobody fucking call me right now. Don't mess up my stream, man. I hate that shit. Fuck.
Hassad is no longer Sakari. I stepped down from Sakari. Every year, Sakari is required to be at the Passover in Atlanta. And every year, Sakari as an organization is required to be in Atlanta for the 4th of July weekend to...
And listen and keep in mind, and keep an ear out for what he's saying, right? He's saying that Hassad is no longer Sakari, and he stepped down from Sakari. He's not saying that Hassad stepped down from Sakari. He's saying that he stepped down from Sakari. I think Hassad... see, I don't know. That's the thing, man. It's speculation, but if he stepped down from Sakari, what happened to Hassad? Did Hassad get put out, or did he step down also? He's not saying that Hassad stepped down. He's saying I stepped down, and Hassad is no longer a part of Sakari. That's what he's saying.
That pagan holiday, right? And fellowship with the brothers in camps in multiple parts of the city. Me feeling how I've been feeling, I didn't go to that. Now, I missed 2 days of the events because I didn't want to be there. My spirit just was not feeling it, right? And so that caused, that was a problem.
Jason Green.
That was a problem, and that was the hot water because we are required to be there. So
You're required to be there because of your organization's orders. So now they're feeling some type of way because they know, like, these aren't any of God's commandments. Why do I have to be in Atlanta for July 4th? What commandment, what scripture is that?
I did tell him maybe I should step down because brothers may be like, why isn't Deacon here? He was correct, exactly. I said that. He said
maybe I should step down. He's been wanting to step down, and he used that situation to say, yeah, you know what, I gotta step down. Come on, man.
No, ask the camp if they want you to step down. So I asked the camp if they want me to step down. They said no, they didn't want me to step down.
But he did it anyways.
But that I'm not gonna go super into detail, but that was the hot water, me just not showing up for the 4th of July weekend. But I eventually ended up going, and I did apologize to the camp because we are required to be there, and
required to be there.
Wow. I didn't show up. Right.
Yo, give this video a like, man.
To hell with the excuses. So I did apologize to the camp. We are supposed to be there no matter what.
No matter what? Jesus.
Now,
wow.
After that, you know, he mentioned that I had a proposal or a proposition that I wanted to make with him. So I did make a proposition to him, and the rest of leadership, they denied or rejected the proposition. And because they rejected that, I decided to step down.
Because they rejected his proposition, he decided to step down. What happened to Hassad, though? Why did Hassad step down or get put out or whatever? They're not giving you the reason why. I wonder what happened with Hassad, is all I'm saying. You know, I think this is just a power struggle, man. These are the heads of Sakari having a power struggle, having differences. And I think this cat took it as an opportunity to say, you know what, I'm out of here. Yeah, you know, I don't want to show up for July 4th. That's what I was doing in the ICGJC in my last days. I didn't even want to show up for street speaking, handing out flyers. Even the Sabbath days, I was like, you know what? I'm not feeling it right now. And they knew that. They could sense that. And I think that was what was going on with this cat. He was probably just getting disenchanted with the organization and the leadership, which is really ran by Guerrilla Hebrew. He's not the leader. He's not the main leader. There are people that are over these guys. There is at least one person, which is Guerrilla Hebrew, that's over them. If he's the chief priest, this cat's named Brother Hassad. This cat's named Deacon Hassad. I believe a chief priest is higher than a deacon. So we already know that. Why did he leave? I think he was done with the leadership and he felt he was big enough to start his own thing. Because he does have a big following, but it's all based off Sakari anyway. So they're taking some of their members. You don't think this is going to be a problem in the future? These cats ain't going to be so cordial in the future. I promise you that. Mark my words right now on July 20th. These cats ain't going to be so cordial in the future.
And they were okay with the decision. And I wanted to say this because the notion of doctrinal differences was being forwarded, right? So I wanted to say this. There was some doctrinal differences that I had, and I believe Hassad had as well, that I want to just make public, but it wasn't big. And I want to just make this public. Me and Hassad do not agree that eating sea moss or seaweed is a sin. Me and Hassad don't agree that eating mushrooms is a sin.
So, sea moss. Yo, there's that blue-green algae and shit that people were drinking and with their protein shakes for years, man. It's still a thing that the Mayans used to take. The Mayans and the Aztecs used to actually ingest this algae, this blue-green algae that's usually found in stagnant waters and shit, stagnant bodies of water. And I guess there's doctrinal differences on that. What scripture is going to tell you that you can't eat sea moss? Which that's actually different from the blue-green algae shit. But I mean, it's a little different. It's in the same category. And the mushrooms. Now, back in the 90s, the Hebrew Israelites of the 90s used to teach that you can't eat mushrooms. Don't eat no portobello, mushroom steak. That portobello steak is no good. Then Tazadakia one day in class in the ICGJC says, you don't like a little mushroom with your steak? He's like, it's good. That portobello mushroom, he's like, it's actually good. And everybody was looking around like, huh? What? Because all throughout the history of the ICGJC, ISUPK, and ICUPK, all that crap, they would teach you that mushrooms are unclean because they are fungus. Like there's mushrooms that you can eat, man, that won't kill you. So why is it a sin? And what scripture is that? What scripture tells you can't eat mushrooms too? Where there's no sin, where there's no law, there's no sin. So these guys kind of had a point with that. But I guess there were doctrinal differences there. But that wasn't the reason for the split. He just wanted to bring that up, and I just want to focus on that too, because that's leading up to the split. It's all leading up. So it's always little things that happen that add up to big things, or a big thing. And yeah, this is what's going on. Make sure you give this video a like too, man. I had to restart it. I'm sorry about that, man, but we're gonna keep it going.
And I've spoke with our brother on this. This isn't we didn't like go all into it, but I told my brother that, you know, I had some issues with seeing that, but it wasn't a big deal. I don't even eat sea moss or seaweed or mushrooms like that. Yeah, so I really didn't give a damn. But if we're talking about doctrinal differences, that would be the only smallest shit that we may have disagreed on. You understand? That's it.
So he's saying that's like the only thing that they even ever disagreed on when it comes to doctrine. So he's saying that the split is not based off doctrines, even though they're gonna go off and teach a different doctrine.
Feed my sheep. That's it. So we're not shooting at our brother Sakari. We're not disrespecting them. Even though I have been hearing a little bit of whispers. Come on, man.
Yeah. Hassan said, hey, come on, man. Let's go back. Check this out.
Feed my sheep. That's it. So we're not shooting at our brother Sakari. We're not disrespecting them. Even though I have been hearing a little bit of whispers. Come on, man.
You heard? You heard?
We're not going back and forth. This will be the last time that we address it.
I love Hassan, though. He's like, come on, man. Hassan's trying to keep the peace and shit. That's why I always like the brother, you know. He just seems cool to me. He seems like a dude that I would get along with, man. Like that. His vibe is just like my vibe. Hassan's vibe is very similar to mine. I love his live streams. I be watching this sometimes. I mean, you know, I learned a lot from it. Mostly that these guys are idiots, but they do bring up good arguments with Christians sometimes. That arguments that are worth listening to at least. So he said that, and then he says, hold on, let me see. He says,
we address it.
Yeah. So these are the YouTube posts. To show you that there's a new religion. And this is it right here. This is the new Hebrew Israelite group, y'all. It's called the Genesis Israelites. Check this out. This is Brother Hassad's post. All right. Can y'all see that? If anyone wants to join the Genesis Israelite school, reach out to Deacon Destruction Mode, or reach out to @Deacon Destruction Mode, or myself by emailing me, Deacon. I don't know how we can reach Brother Hassad by emailing Deacon Music page. Does Hassad run Deacon's music page? I don't get it. But this is their new logo and shit. Genesis Israelites. You got the G, Genesis, with the I there and the G. I don't know what they're doing. And this is Deacon Hakah. And of course, oh no, it's not about money, right? It's not about money, but you got your Cash App right there. You see the one that Brother Hassad put up, there's no Cash App. Nah, just Deacon needs to throw his Instagram and his Cash App in there. Make sure you know his Cash App. Yo, if y'all donate to this motherfucking shit, I'm gonna hurt you. You better unsubscribe from my channel. These motherfuckers, man. Yeah, but this is the new Hebrew Israelite group, yo. This is the Genesis Israelites. The Genesis Israelites. What happened to Exodus and Leviticus? Nah, they're the Genesis Israelites. It's yeah, Deacon Hassad is about his money. Deacon Hakah is about his money, rather. So I put that up, you know, right there. Yeah, I mean, these are the two faces of Sakari that, you know, you have been seeing over the years. These are the main faces. And now, it's just, there's only one left right there. And there's a bunch of other no-name cats, very small time, that I've destroyed, like Rob Yawasop from Miami. I went live with that cat talking about the 10 tribes breakdown. in 2nd Ezra chapter 13. And that's what I want to do with these cats, man, because that's their Achilles heel right there. That's their weakness. That 10 tribes breakdown, and they promote the Father Nazario stones, the Padre Nazario stones, as if it has Hebrew in it. I did an interview with the man, and I asked him, does it have Hebrew in it? He said, no, we've already said this. He's even told the IUIC when they came and interviewed him, this is already out. Why is Gorilla Hebrew doing a Viva Yasha Allah series where he's fucking bringing out artifacts that don't have Hebrew on them and saying that they do have Hebrew on them? This cat right here is one of the biggest liars up in the Hebrew Israelite community. This cat right here, and all these cats follow him anyways. This cat follows what this cat does anyways, man. So now he wants to go off and do his own thing, but he wants to bring the same doctrine into his new thing. I'm still going to come at all these cats, man. And I want to talk to all these cats. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to the mayor, the governor, the motherfucking president. I want to talk to the deacon, the chief priest, the motherfucking captains. I want to talk to all these cats, man. Because right now, they've been weakened. They're looking weak. I don't know if y'all realize that, but to me, they're looking like a little duckling at the end of a row of ducks that's just falling behind, man. Man, you're going to get caught up. You're going to get snatched up by a hawk. That's what's going to happen to you. Yeah, now these cats ain't no more. There ain't no more. And then I saw a comment on that same photo where they have the logo, their new logo for the Genesis Israelites in green and gold. And somebody commented and said, is Genesis going to have a version of Sakari varsity? Let me get close to there. This looks like a sister. Is Genesis going to have a version of Sakari varsity? So like the Hebrew Academy or the University of the 144,000 is in the ICGJC. And they also have the Dozy program for the sisters to pay. This is a way for them to get more money from you. They have the same shit going on. This is a way for Hebrew Israelites to get more money off you any way that they can. And this cat, as selfish as he is, he wants to make sure he gets credit and says, the varsity was mine and still is. Still going. Look at the question. Oh, okay, Khan, how do we get the pricing? They're getting charged to go to these varsities, universities. They're creating the same thing. The same thing that the ICGJC was doing. People that want to hate on Trump for his university that he created, that fake university that's non-credited, just to get money off of people. Same thing right here. All these technical colleges that they have out here, which are fake universities and fake colleges, they're not accredited sometimes. And you go and pay them some money, you end up graduating, you do a whole year or a 10-month program, and you're not even accredited. You got to pay more money after you graduate to get accredited in the same thing that you've been studying. This is what they're doing. This is fake knowledge, man. These fake universities that don't mean nothing. You get a fake diploma. Like I have a Hebrew Academy diploma. I have a Hebrew Academy diploma with the ICGJC, man. That shit is meaningless and worthless. But they're charging brothers, man. That's what he said. How do we get the pricing for the varsity? This shit's crazy, man. Crazy as hell. All you gotta do is just go through their page, the comment section. You'll find a lot of things, man, that they keep in secret and shit. Varsity program. What the hell is this? Edwin Kelly says, Alazar used his half-white privilege. Yeah, man, Alazar's crazy. Yeah, man, that's pretty much it, man. I'm gonna just put it back to the beginning of this.
Ended up going, and I did apologize to the camp because
just in case anything I missed.
So if it's that bad, then just say it. What it is, all things will come to light. Who said it was that bad? Who said it was that bad?
What?
I'm supposed to just tell you about the inner workings of my organization because you're thirsty. I want y'all to understand, man. Y'all see me right now? I'm in a great place.
I'm in a great place.
I'm in a great place, man.
He looks nervous. Mr. Chief Dome, right there. He looks a little nervous, if you ask me. That's Al-Azhar. Yo, I went against him already about different topics. This cat, one time, Al-Azhar, whatever the hell, Gorilla Hebrew, he was trying to tell me how DNA testing is no good. It's not trustworthy, Al-Azhar says. He says it's not trustworthy, San Miguel, because there was this one person who did a DNA test, and he had a feeling that there was something sketchy going on. So when he sent the DNA swab, he swabbed his dog. It was like a German Shepherd. He swabbed the German Shepherd and put the saliva back in the testing, and they tested it, came back with their results, and that particular lab gave them a result of Native American, 50% Native American, you know, all this, whatever, all these results for a dog. You know, so that's true. That did happen. But that location and that lab was not using the science. Just like these people will argue that, well, the ICGJC is not using the real science of the Israelite doctrine, so they don't, you know, they have nothing to do with the truth, even though they're all up in your community. Though then why are you using laboratories that are not using the science to try to diminish DNA testing when they're not even doing DNA testing? They're fronting and using the illusion that they're using science when they're not, and they're tricking people to get money, the same way the ICGJC was doing. So why would you come out and say that, oh, you see, this, you can't trust DNA testing because, well, then you can't trust the Hebrew Israelite doctrine because there's so many of y'all fucking groups out here spread out teaching different things. Same logic. No, but that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't mean that the DNA testing is incorrect because there was one lab that wasn't doing the science that came up and was tricking people for their money. And they would say, well, that doesn't mean that the Israelite doctrine is incorrect because there was one group that was using the knowledge and tricking people. Yo, it's the same logic, man. The Al-Azhar is going to be as manipulative and sneaky as possible and use this logic towards that when he knows he wouldn't do that when it comes to his own community, where there are many crooks and charlatans in his own community. He would admit it. How many people out here, how many crooks and thieves are out here using the Hebrew Israelite mantra and doctrines and all of that? Rise Yasher Allah, Kwam Yasher Allah, and they're actually trying to, you know, raise their income. You know, not the congregation. They're trying to quam their money. They're trying to make their money rise, their bread rise like leaven, like Lebanon. And I've also gone toe to toe with these cats about, like I showed the King David's baby, right? That was a good one. Let's go back to that real quick. Because I thought this was hilarious.
Did King David's son, who was killed by God, pay for the sins of the father? That's a very good question. That is a very good question.
That's my question.
I would say yeah. Now, that's not violating Ezekiel because at Ezekiel is after King David. And the Most High said he wasn't going to be killing the...
Yeah, that's that was my question to Deacon Hakab about King David's baby.
Did King David's son, who was killed by God, pay for the sins of the father? That's a very good question. That is a very good question. I would say, yeah. Now, that's not violating Ezekiel because at Ezekiel is after King David. And the Most High said he wasn't going to be killing the fathers for the son's iniquities or the son.
Saint Ephraim, I just tuned in. Are you saying the Sakari split is all scripted to get more money between them? I don't know that. No, I'm not saying I know that. What I'm saying is that that could be the possibility. No, not all scripted. What you mean? To get more money between them? No. I think that these cats literally split because they want to get more money on their own. I think that there was some money being cut off, or maybe like Deacon Hakal would go live and he'll raise money on his lives. I think that some of that money had to go to the heads of Sakari, or the head of Sakari, which is, I think it's just the one Guerrilla Hebrew's only chief priest. Chief priest Alazar. I don't know any other chief priests in Sakari. I think that this cat started realizing, maybe there was also a combination of doctrinal differences. But like maybe this cat started seeing, damn, I could get money on my own. Why do I need to cough up some money and send it off to this cat? I could start my own thing, and now nobody gets his money but me. I think that that's a very high possibility. But I'm not saying that this is scripted. Nah, I never said that this is scripted. I don't know what you're talking about, scripted. I think this has happened naturally because people wanted to do their own thing. This is not supposed to be happening in the Israelite community, but this is all you see happening. This is just like the Seventh-day Adventists, Ellen G. White, came out of the Russellites, who are the Jehovah's Witness, and they started their own thing because they thought that they had their own thing going. They thought that they was whatever. I don't know. Edwin Kelly says, Alizar wants to be the newest member of Jagged Edge. They're all built on that money. Yo, a lot of this stuff has to do with money, man. It's a lot of money involved in this stuff, man. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was some of the reason behind Deacon Haka of Seattle leaving this organization, because I thought you loved Sakari, man. I thought you loved your brothers. Why is it that you feel the need to leave? You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. Let's go back to the library here. There was a few times. Yeah, this is the Brian Casey of Jagged Edge right here.
Are you not from a group?
I'm for this group right here.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't know. Look familiar. You not related to somebody famous?
Yeah, I am.
Yes, you are. Yes, you is. You feel your people's from, baby, I promise. So, is that your people? I know it. Oh my God. Is that your
Yeah, I knew that. This is my video right here.
Yeah, it's me. All right, come on now.
Ricky, you a legend.
No. Okay, so this is Brian Casey right here. He has a twin brother who got into the car accident, who's not in Sakari, Mr. Saint Ephraim 128. I try to follow this stuff, I posted this video right here like 2 months ago. This is the Jagged Edge, Brian Casey. This is in Atlanta. Jagged Edge is a group from Atlanta. I believe they were signed to Jermaine Dupri out of Atlanta. For those that are saying that they were signed to Diddy, they were never signed to Diddy. They were signed to Jermaine Dupri in that So Def. So Brian Casey's part of the Sakari. The other three members, including his twin brother, Bradley Casey, it's something with a B. Brandon Casey. Brandon Casey's the one that got into a car accident. Brandon Casey got into a car accident like a year ago, though, man. Like 9 months to a year ago, 9 to 12 months ago. Unless there was another car accident that happened. But Brandon Casey almost died. That's his brother, who's not in the cult. So, because I thought that was him too. I thought he got into the car accident, and I thought that had something to do with him coming into the cult of Sakari, but it doesn't. I don't think so. I don't think. Then I mean, they're not related because it wasn't him that got into the car accident. It was his twin brother, who has nothing to do with the cult. But yeah, Brian Casey from Jagged Edge. He's a quarter of Jagged Edge. He has joined the Sakari Hebrew Israelite groups. And people love that shit, just like we loved Boys to Men being in the ICGJC. Don't front like you didn't love that, y'all former ICGJC members. We love the fact that Boys to Men was up in there. And we can say Down on Bended Knee is a song to Yahweh and all that. We used to say all that stuff. But, all right, you on it? A few days ago and several months ago as well. Okay, so it was another one. See, I'm not aware of that. Man, what? That's crazy. Was he involved in one? Was Brian Casey? Because I know his brother Brandon Casey almost died. He was almost dead. He lived. But yeah, Mr. Saint Ephraim, welcome everybody. You know, I got a lot of close friends that are Hebrew Israelites, man. Y'all always welcome here, man. Because I realize y'all not going away. I'm not saying because it's something godly or prophetic about what y'all doing. Not to disrespect, but the movement is obviously not going away. So the best thing that I think we could do is get along and reform and try to expose the bullshit that's in your community. And maybe I could move from there and take that bullshit out. Because I've seen Hebrew Israelites out here that I've talked to, they'll tell me, I know Jeremiah 14:2 is not talking about the skin color of the Jews. He's like, I know that's not talking about. There's Hebrew Israelites that tell you, no, the scripture that tells you Ephraim is a cake not turned is not talking about skin color. They'll tell you that the scripture that says that mine heritage is like a speckled bird is not talking about skin color. There's Hebrew Israelites that will say that. And I'm happy to hear that there's some changes going on. Because those are straight up lies that are being taught. Jacob's face shall not now wax pale. Which is talking about being scared and frightened. It's not talking about that they're not going to turn like white. Because if you believe that the 10 tribes are Hispanics, guess what? Jacob has turned white and pale. Look at Cubans. It's crazy. But yeah. Y'all know how I get down.
Like, I just need you to know that. This is how we stop so I can acknowledge this the alignment. Yeah. You a legend. Like, I was just listening to you 2 days ago.
Don't stop now. Let that man.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me look up some more stuff with me and Sakari, man, that we could go over here. I'll go over the Vice City Sakari shit that I did with Deacon with Officer Rob Yawasap. That's it. Let's see how. Well, let me see. If I put San Miguel. Oh, come on, what's going on here? Yeah, I did a live stream with a Puerto Rican midget from Miami named Officer Rob Yawasap, who's down with Sakari. He's like 4 foot 12 inches, which is really 5 feet. He's 4 foot 11 inches and a half. Well, we just say he's 4 foot 12, 5 feet. Let's see. So is San Miguel with Sakari Israelite. I'm Israelite. Let's check it out. Damn, this shit not working. Sakari is spelled with 2 I's, right? Because they got 2 I's. Alright, so let's see. Let me see what comes up. San Miguel Sakari. This is a oh, there we go. Yeah, you see? Sakari Public Enemies. It looks like that group.
So I joined in 2004.
Yeah, that's me right there.
And I was actually put out in 2010 because they have strict rules about attending classes, and I was missing some classes, so I was temporarily put out, and I decided never to return about 2015 when a good brother called me up and told me that, you know, all this was about to go down. So I knew that way back in 2015 that all this that's happening now was going to happen eventually.
Right. This is interesting right here. St. Ephraim, I have no clue about this, so I'm going to look into this. But St. Ephraim in the comment section is in the live comments saying, what do you think about Guerrilla Hebrew offering the service of a life coach for $600 a month? He's following the footsteps of Polite. That's what Polite was doing. Polite was like a life coach for Ron Artest and famous people. You know that? So he's probably a life coach for Brian Casey. And Brian Casey got that money. He's getting all them residuals and shit from So Def. And you know, there's gonna be people that got that money. There's gonna be people that don't have that money that are gonna want to pay that. But yeah, go check that out, man. That's this is me on the Sakari channel. This was 5 years ago. Sakari and ex-ICGJC member San Miguel TV discussion. I forgot, you know, I have it on my channel too. The whole thing is 2 hours. It's pretty good, but I'll tell you right now, where I was at that point 5 years ago wasn't completely where I'm at now. But I was still catching them with things like where the scripture says, through that country, it took 1.5 years. That's the main thing I took. That was the main take from that whole live stream. That cat somewhere in there, I can't, you know, I don't want to go through it because I forget where's the timestamp at. But you could go through the whole thing. It's actually pretty good, and they treated me pretty cool. So I never really had a problem with them, except for the fact that they were lying, you know, like, you know, but I don't think they're purposely lying. I think that they're deceived. But I don't really know what to believe sometimes with some of these leaders. I don't know if they know that they're lying and they just keep on lying. I don't know that. Because sometimes I'm like, how the hell would you come up with this doctrine where in 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 45, they're saying that the word through is not supposed to be there. It's not supposed to say through. It's supposed to say to that country, they say. So they're changing the words of the Bible in order for their scriptures to fit their doctrine, for the scriptures to fit their doctrine. Yeah, that's not cool, man. Don't lie to me. Because I actually went to go look that up later on, and I realized that that's bullshit, and now I can't bring that up on live, you know, on the live, because now we're off the live. You know, that's the problem with doing these sometimes, is that if you don't give me the opportunity to look it up and fact check you in live time, in real time, then you're going to just be able to say whatever you want. And that's not good. I've heard them debate. I've heard them speak about that. St. Ephraim says in the live comments, you should have debated them on the Christ is Yahweh ICGJC teaching. I'm sure they never heard that one. They have actually. I've watched that. That's a good one though. That's a good one because I could bring John chapter 8, verse 58. I could bring Colossians chapter 1, verse 19, or no, Colossians chapter 1, verse 9. And Ephesians 2 and 9, I think it is. I always get that mixed up, where it says that all things were created by him and through him. And also that Jesus Christ is the only begotten of the Father. The only creation of the Father is Jesus Christ, who created the angels, who created the earth, who created Israel, who was talking in the book of Exodus chapter 4, verse 22, where God told Moses to tell Pharaoh that Israel is my son, even my firstborn. If John 3:16, if that's talking about Jesus Christ, the only begotten of the Father is Jesus Christ, then that's his only son. Then who's talking in Exodus chapter 4, verse 22, where it says, Israel is my son? That's something I learned in the ICGJC. That was kind of a strong debate. Like we could really bring this up to people and stump them. Why did Jesus Christ said, before Abraham was, I am? And why did the Pharisees take up stones to stone him if they didn't know what he was trying to say? He was trying to say that he is I am. He is the Father. Why would they take up stones if they didn't know that he was trying to say that he is Yahweh? Jesus Christ was saying that he is Yahweh. That could have been an easy debate too. I could go into that. But, you know, that could be for the future, man, because like I said, I've been emailing these guys, man. So you could possibly look forward to a live stream with the Genesis Israelites and San Miguel, or maybe even Sakari, because I've been hitting up Arayala, or whatever his name is, who seems to be mad suspicious, you know, of me and what's my agenda. And it's like, nigga, come live with me and stop being a bitch. Stop acting like he's all scared. Like, what do you want? I want to cut you to shreds, brother. What you mean? What you mean, what do I want? How many times had this cat, Araya Allah, had people on his live stream that are Christians or whatever? And he's chopping them up, you know, going back and forth. Well, have me on the live stream. Let me see what you could do with me. Only an ex-ICGJC member really know how to break down that specific teaching. It stumps a lot of people who claim to be Hebrew Israelites. Yo, you right on that, Saint Ephraim. Appreciate your input too. And this is me with going up against Rob Yawasop of the Sakari Israelites in Miami, the Vice City Hebrew Israelites, Vice City Sakari, right here. Go back of this white ass Sakari Israelite named Officer Rob Yawasop trying to align me with supporting slavery because I called myself an American, and then immediately turns back on that and says that, yeah, he supports slavery, right after he was just trying to condemn me and trying to align me with supporting slavery. Check this out.
You practice things of America, so you support,
Abraham is from Ur of the Chaldees.
You support slavery too?
I don't. The Bible does.
Oh, okay.
The Bible does. The Bible does.
Of course it does. It supports us enslaving our enemies. Absolutely.
Isn't that a double standard?
Look, would you rather be the enslaver or the enslaved?
I don't want to do either one. How about that?
You want to be okay? So those are the only two options because that's what we're talking about.
Dichotomy.
That's a false dichotomy. Would you rather be the enslaved or the enslaver? Are those my only two options? I can only be a slave or a slave master. You see the false dichotomy that they limit your options in order to make their beliefs seem more reasonable and rational. I know exactly what these guys are doing. That's why when he was trying, they do this all the time. Yo, do you support slavery? Well, America, they were supporting slavery. They were supporting slavery. They were. You're no longer a slave, man. Here's Deacon Haka with all types of damn Figaro chains and Cuban link chains. You don't have a chain on as a slave chain. You have gold on like you're an Israelite that just left Egypt with all types of gold on. That's what the Israelites did when they left Egypt, when they were no longer in slavery. They had all types of gold and chains on, and they felt all good about themselves. After slavery, that's what Deacon Hakah is. You ain't a slave, nigga. And then they try to fucking be the victim all the time. They want to be the victim so bad while they're saying that they're the elite, or they're the more powerful, the superior ones. Well, we're superior to white people, but we're still slaves. Well, how are you a slave if you're superior to them? You can't get out of slavery if you're saying you're superior. This shit's crazy, man. I'm sorry, man. That victimhood shit, that shit's so whack and corny to me, man. Especially a white-ass fucking Puerto Rican, man. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being white. They're saying there's something wrong with being white. So I know I'm saying that because I know that they're not gonna like that. You know? They hate that shit. Like, as if they're not white. They hate that fact that they have a little bit of white in them. They hate themselves. That cat is white as hell. That's Rob Yawasop. Talking about how, oh, don't you, or you must love slavery because you represent America. You want to be an American. Well, slavery's in the Bible. He said, damn right it is. So why are you just trying to get on me about slavery as if I support slavery? Which I don't, nigga. You support slavery, and you're a white-ass Puerto Rican. Why do you support slavery? How does it sound for a white-ass Puerto Rican like this cat to be out here talking about slavery is good? This cat loves slavery right here. You know? Except when it happens to him. You fucking... Yo, these guys are such hypocrites, man. You be out here talking about how much you hate slavery, and then you talk about, damn right I'm for slavery. How crazy is this? Check this out.
Abraham is from Ur of the Chaldeans.
You support slavery too?
I don't. The Bible does.
Okay.
The Bible does. The Bible does.
Of course it does. It supports us enslaving our...
He said, do you support slavery too? I don't, but the Bible does. Of course it does. Yo, Rob Yawasop would never have me on his live stream again. He was not ready for me, man. He thought I was going to be on some Christian shit. Like, these cats expect some weak-ass motherfuckers to come up to them. They're not ready for actual people that have been to 1 West 125th Street. This nigga never been to 1 West 125th Street. Gorilla Hebrew has never been to 1 West. Deacon Hakah and Brother Hassad, y'all niggas have never been to 1 West. And y'all want to talk about this shit like it's the holy ground. Guess what? I've stepped foot on that so-called holy ground, man. Who the fuck are y'all, man? To say anything. I have more credence to these cats. I have more to say. I have more experience. And I can even tell you, I could give you both sides. I could tell you how it was to be a believer and how it is to be a non-believer. I know exactly what these guys are going to say before they even say it, man. And it's like, they think like everything they like is going to surprise me. That's why as soon as he said, oh, you support slavery? No, you do. The Bible does. You're damn right it does. But why would you just trying to get on me about slavery, which I don't support, as if it's a bad thing, and then when I put it on you, all of a sudden, it's a good thing. Yo, these cats are so fucking fake, man. This cat's white as hell, man. He's whiter than me. He's pink. He's pink, man. Come on, son. You gonna get on me? Like, yo, man, stop promoting slavery, which you have never benefited from. And actually, you probably have benefited from slavery. Or maybe your ancestors have. And you're over here talking about me in America when in your Bible, till this day, it's still going to be for slavery. Because you can never change the words of the Bible. You can reinterpret it however the hell you want, but whatever. They're students of YouTube video uploads. That's St. Ephraim in the comments section. Yeah, welcome to all of y'all, man. This is the part 2. My first video, my first live stream tonight got cut off in the middle. Like 40 minutes in, 38 minutes in, it got cut off. So I had to restart it. This is my second video of the day, of tonight. This is a part 2 continuation of what's going on with Sakari. So what's going on with Sakari is that they've split. There's a major split in Sakari. as these weeks go by, we're gonna start seeing who's gonna land where. The Genesis Israelites is a new group that Deacon Aka started, and so did I guess Hassad is with him too. So this is where it's at right now, man. Adam M, what's up, brother? In the comments says it's only bad if others do it, in quotation marks. So you gotta love those types. Yeah, man. That's exactly how they are. Slavery is not bad as long as, you know, it's happening to the right people. You know, but if it's happening to us, it's not good. So that's a double standard. So when I asked him, I said, isn't that a double standard? He said, well, what would you rather be? The slaved or the enslaver? And I was like, I don't want to be a slave and I don't want to be a slave master. How about that? He was like, okay, well, that's the only two options because that's what we were talking about. What? That doesn't make any sense. As if there's no option to be neutral. This shows you exactly why these guys come to certain conclusions. Because they limit their options to two options. Instead of multiple options, they only have two options. And that's called a false dichotomy. A false dichotomy. A dichotomy is an either or. That's what dichotomy means. A dichotomous situation is when it's an either or, and it's a false dichotomy when you present only two options, as if those are only the available options in order to make your option or your belief seem more rational. You diminish the other belief, the other dichotomous, you know, which is like, okay, well, isn't there another option? How about the option of I don't want to enslave anybody and I don't want to be a slave? Well, that's, I never thought about that. These niggas are so dumb, man. Yo, I love going on these cats' live stream. They have no clue what they're in store for. And I caught this guy saying that through that country, he was saying that, yeah, that means that they went through the Euphrates. When Gorilla Hebrew, his leader, is saying that through that country is supposed to mean to that country. These guys are saying two different things, and they're in the same group. This group is not as organized as IUIC. Sakari is kind of all over the place. When you ask them a question about a certain topic, you might get two different answers if you ask two different people in Sakari. And that's the truth, man. And I want to talk to y'all, whether it's Hassad or Hakah or Arayala. Rabia, what's up? They ain't never going to have me on again. That little midget. And then Gorilla Hebrew. If you want to have me on again, we could do this again, and we'll talk about the Good News translation of 2nd Ezra chapter 13, which he brought up and totally debunks what he believes in. And when you look at the breakdown, this comes from ISUPK, so they don't know any better. They're just parroting what they heard. Go into the breakdown of 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 40 through 47. They want to cut it off at 46. Read verse 47 too. It's supposed to be the 10 tribes leaving Assyria and going to America. And it says through that country, it took them a year and a half. So I got a question here. There's a comment. Well, let me read all of it. Jason Creed says, Abrahamic religions are on the verge of extinction. I don't know about that. I remember you said that before. But I don't know about that, man. It seems like there's more people becoming more religious nowadays. I know Islam is growing. Saint Ephraim 128 in the comments, the live comment says, were you around when ISUPK started teaching that the Europeans settling early America were actually Jakes who had placed other West African Jakes into servitude? Jamestown and the Founding Fathers? Nah, but I've heard about that. I've heard about that because if King James was black, then Jamestown and the transatlantic slave trade was black people enslaving black people. Exactly, man. Saint Ephraim, who are you, bro? You have a lot of good comments, man. Thank you. But yeah, this cat, man, Goddamn, Rob, yeah, what's up? It's crazy. But yeah, I told him about that, man. I told him about King James and Jamestown, in 1619, and even King James' son helped push forward the transatlantic slave trade, man, going all the way up to 1685. His grandson, King James' grandson, was also pushing forward the transatlantic slave trade. How are these people black? That doesn't make any sense at all, man. It's crazy. But no, I wasn't there. I wasn't in the ISUPK when it was called I wasn't in the ICUPK when it was called the ICUPK. But I've spoken to many people who were there just before I got there. I came in '04. The ICUPK became no more in 2003. In about 2003, it became the Israelite Church of God and Jesus Christ. And then in about 2004, it became the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ. So I wasn't there. King Charles I, that's right. And King Richard, I believe, came right after that or something. That was around 98, 99. Okay. Yeah. There's a good brother named Haram, Brother Haram, who's out in Puerto Rico. That's my brother right there. I don't know if he's on right now. He'll probably watch this later. He's a subscriber, and I talked to him outside of YouTube. Actually talked to him. That's my guy. He's a believer. He's an Israelite. He believes he's an Ephraimite. And he was there during those years, and he's told me a lot. And so was my older cousin, Jesucito, or Yahweh Shai Ba. That was his name in the cult, was Yahweh Shai Ba. He told me about those years. Those are crucial times. I'll say between 1997 and 2003 are crucial times, and like big changes were going on in the ICUPK. When the fire happened at 1941 Madison Avenue, when they still had One West and now they added 1941 Madison Avenue when they still had One West. They were in the same building as Al Sharpton's building. When Al Sharpton announced his presidency in 2003, in November or October or something like that, there was a fire, a mysterious fire, in 1941 Madison Avenue. And you can see a photo in '03 of 1941 Madison Avenue, and you can see the billboard or the poster or whatever outside of 1941 that says the Israeli Church, ICUPK, Israeli Church of Universal Practical Knowledge. And it was right after that fire that they changed the name of the cult, the church.
This white ass Sakari Israelite named Officer.
All right, let's go back here. See if we can find something else.
Did King David's son, who was killed by God, pay for the sins of the father? That's a very good question. That is a very good question.
This is my question.
I thought about that.
This is my question to Deacon Hakai. He's reading my question, and he's gonna call me out by my name in a second here. And I'm just glad that he was able to admit that he was confounded, because he's admitting that I'm confounding him with my question. It's a very good question for anybody that says that they believe in the Bible.
The other day, I would say, yeah. Now, that's not violating Ezekiel, because Ezekiel is after King David in the most.
All right. St. Ephraim, do you know a brother who was in ICUPK back in the 90s named Yahawashai? He was an Ephraimite and also was an actor. Nah, I don't know. I don't know who that was. I think I've heard of him before, but I didn't get in there till 2004, and I was in Orlando. So, I didn't really get to know the brothers in New York until like 2005. I started seeing more of the brothers in New York, but I know a lot of people by name or by face, but this particular brother, Yahawashai, I don't know who that was, but because that name means Jesus, my cousin Jesus, who was from Yonkers, he joined the cult before. You know, I was a teen. I had no idea. This was before I even stepped foot anywhere near any Hebrew Israelite organization or whatever. My cousin was in there. My cousin, my blood cousin. He's a second cousin, but you know he's really close. You know how Hispanic are. Second cousins are close as hell. And his name was Yahawashai Ba, because his real name was Jesus, but he didn't want to take that name because I thought it was because of Jesus Christ, but I'm wondering if it was already a Yahawashai. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, well, he told me it was because Jesus is already named Yahawashai, so he took Yahawashai Ba. But that might be too. I mean, I think that's what he told me though. So I'm gonna go by what he said. Is that what he said? Yeah, I believe that's what he told me. He told me it was because Jesus was known as Yahawashai. Because I remember when I first told him that's not his name. I'm like, Jesus Christ's name is actually, his real name is actually Yahweh. So, you know, when I told him that, I think that's when he told me why he chose Yahawashai Ba. And that's how I always remembered it. But that's weird that there was a Yahawashai if his reason is because Jesus Christ is Yahawashai. I can't be Yahawashai. Then why would another brother be named Yahawashai? So that's, I don't know. Good question. Yeah, Ba means second, right?
Fathers for the son's iniquities, or the son for the father's iniquity. Come on, son.
The fathers shall not be put to death for the children's, neither shall the children be put to death for the fathers. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin. I love this scripture, man. I love this logic. I love this in every walk of life. This is a good thing that I find good in the Bible. Right here. But what the hell happened with King David's son then? This is my question. It's always been my question. I can't really ever get a good answer from a Christian, Israelite, whatever. And it's not going to be easy, man. This is a tough question. I've had Tazaryak from ISUPK. I asked him this question one time. And his response was, this order is for... it's not because God won't do it. It's that there's an executioner, and the executioner is not supposed to be putting an Israelite child to death because of the sin of their father. But God can do it because he's God, and it's okay if he is not logical at all because he can do whatever he wants. You know, that's the answer. And I think these answers are garbage. You know what I mean? But whatever. It is what it is.
San Miguel saying Deuteronomy 24:16.
San Miguel
okay, yeah,
said.
Got you. Yeah, that's a hard one. Possibly, but then again. San Miguel saying Deuteronomy 24:16. Okay, yeah, got you. Yeah,
These cats know who I am.
Possibly, but then
Ezekiel 18:1-4. If you don't call that out already, Oh yeah, that's what he brought up. I think that's what he brought up.
Be killing the fathers for the sons' iniquity. Because at Ezekiel is after King David.
You see, he's talking about Ezekiel.
And the Most High said he wasn't.
He said because. So check this out. This is what he's trying to get around. Because of the book of Ezekiel, because the book of Ezekiel is after King David, then King David didn't violate that. You can't, accuse or you can't condemn a child for the sins of the father or the father for the sins of the child. That's okay during the time of King David. It's all right that King David's baby was killed because Ezekiel comes after King David. But that scripture in Ezekiel is in Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 16. That I didn't even know it was in Ezekiel. Oh, I know the Deuteronomy 24:16 because That's what goes with my argument. So I don't need Ezekiel, but he was trying to pull out Ezekiel, and I'm like, wait, no, but it's in Deuteronomy. So in the comment section in his live, I put no Deuteronomy 24:16. That's why he was like, oh, San Miguel is saying, yeah, yeah. And he was like, yeah, you know what? He's like, that's a good one. I got you, and I got him. And it's not me. It's like it's just logic, man. That's what I follow. That's what keeps me away from following lies, is because I follow logic. When you start to follow a group, now you got to follow whatever the fuck the group says. And if you don't fucking test it, you might not even care about logic. You might just be like, well, you know, the group says this, so I got to follow it. Now, this cat was a part of a group that was telling him to go to Atlanta every July 4th. Why? And he was like, you know what? I don't think I want to do that anymore. Hey man, I can't blame the dude, but
to be killing the fathers for the son's iniquities, or the son for the father's iniquity.
come on, son.
Come on, son. Oh, San Miguel saying Deuteronomy 24:16. Okay,
San Miguel.
Got you.
San
Yeah,
Miguel.
that's a hard one. Possibly.
Possibly?
But then again, the baby could have paid for something that the baby did in the past life. Come on, son.
No. It wasn't because of a past life. It wasn't because of a past life. It was because of King David's actions. That's what 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 14 says. I already had this all planned. When he said that, about, you know, whatever reincarnation, this is a reincarnation doctrine gone wrong. The reincarnation doctrine messes them up all over the place. You know that, right? I mean, there's like so many things, because when white people come up to them in the streets and say, well, I didn't do anything to you. What did I do? You know, and they be very sincere. And you know that these white people that's around nowadays, they're willing to get on their knees and kiss and lick their boots. They don't hate them. But because of the reincarnation doctrine, they're saying, no, man, you're the same person that was whooping Kunta Kinte, even though that was a movie. You know, they're going to say something like that. You know, excuse me, but I kind of want to go into now the actual live stream I did with them. Let's do that. Why not? You know. And there's no visuals or nothing. It's like, you know, I went live with them. I couldn't see them. They couldn't see me. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cordial, man. Like I remember thinking, well, at least they wasn't so like, I don't know. They response, like the way that they treated me, I thought that they were gonna be more like ignorant, and negative, and like disrespectful, and they actually weren't.
First and foremost, we give all.
But yeah, let me get through the part where I'm going into my history, and let's go into, I guess, we're going to talk about the science, I guess. Let me see.
He just doesn't have any power, and Tazadaki just wields so much power that.
All right, so 35 minutes, I think.
Miami about the same, and then Fort Lauderdale was really small, like 20. So Florida alone had about, you know, anywhere from 150 to 200, something like that. So that's Florida, you know, and then they're in North Carolina. So you could kind of add it up. New York and Philly, you know, they're deep. Jersey deep. So yeah, man, they were up there. We were up there. I mean, with when Boyz II Men coming out and all that. I mean,
yeah.
it was like a damn party.
Yeah. We see the videos. Yeah, I actually on my first time in Miami, man, we ran into some dudes selling CDs. We was about to camp in South Beach, and so we started talking about the Israelite thing with the you know, with the Brother Truth, whatever, and he's like, man, yeah, I was already into that. I was in ICGJC. I was an officer of 5,000. These niggas warped my mind, man. I had to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, man. A lot of people in there, they're coming out. The longer you stay in there, the worse it's gonna be, I think, because you just gotta tell. It's like you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself, telling yourself that this is all a setup. This is some type of big, everything's gonna be all right eventually, and it's just not. Some of these people are gonna have some type of shock when they come out of there, I think. But I got out of there at a good time, especially that time in between where, I was kind of still, believing, but I didn't really want to come back. But it was easy for me to see, like, once I heard, like, yo, this guy got 30 cars, he's taking all this money, got all these women. I kind of, like, you didn't have to convince me of that. I kind of knew, kind of personality he had. You could kind of tell how he is. But, I mean, that didn't really happen with me. Like, it was pretty easy on me. My thing was, like, now I got to figure out what was real and what wasn't, So I started going back to the doctrine, and, that's where I am now.
Yeah, which kind of leads us here. Okay, perfect. Perfect
This-
segue. Okay,
This is my conversation. This is me and Gorilla Hebrew going at it. It was a good one, man. Like, this was good. But I'll tell you straight up, I was just coming out of this doctrine, the belief. This was in 2018. It's gonna be coming up to 6 years, I believe. Let me see. I'm gonna tell you right here. This was 2019. This was June 13th, 2019. So yeah, okay, 5 years ago. Okay. Is this on my channel? So it actually happened a few days before this, because I put it on my channel on June 13th, 2019. But the actual live stream, I think, happened like June 10th, 2019. So it was the same week. And I had a good conversation with Gorilla Hebrew. He actually was very easy to talk to. I can relate. Like we just, it seems like we come from the same place. You know what I mean? Like we speak the same language. Me, him, and Hakah. And it was no like a name calling. It was a little bit of, whatever. It's whatever it's gonna be when there's a debate. Obviously, it's gonna come off like you're downing somebody, and that's pretty natural. But yeah, I don't know if we should go through all of this. I'm trying to go to the spots where they looked a little confused about things. But I guess we could just continue it from here. Yeah, he is a veteran, man. Like, don't take his
Believe that it was written by
his scholarship lightly.
And it was their ideas and their wisdom that was put into that book. And I believe the same thing about the Quran and every other holy book that people want to promote out there. I don't give one any props over the other. I look at it like it's all the same pretty much.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if we should listen to all this thing, because this is 40 minutes in, and this goes into 2 hours. So it's an hour and 20 minutes, and I don't know the timestamps of the actual good spots. So I'm just explaining to them what I believe. They wanted us to get into what I believe. I wanted to get into what they believe. So I think at 58-minute mark, we get into something like that. Let me see.
Are they carbon dating it?
No, you won't be able to carbon date the parchment. It's not. You're not going to carbon dating. It's you have relative dating.
Is 6th century BC, right? Or not 6. Yeah, 6th century.
Where they sacked Judea. They had already taken the 10 tribes, and then they had, I think it was King Jehu, I think.
Yeah, Jehu.
They had him, Jehu, right? He paid tribute, and then it says that they had they kept. I guess they started fighting after he had already paid tribute. They had came back, and then some angels came and fought and killed the Assyrians. About like an even number of the Assyrians were killed, and then it tells you and then it go. I think that's something that was added because you don't find that in Sennacherib's prism. But
So I'm talking about Sennacherib's prism here. Okay, so this was a good point here that I brought up to them. He didn't have any response. Like you'll see in a second, he didn't really respond in any way. In how, why is it that in the Bible, Second Kings chapter 19, it talks about a historic event that happened between the Assyrians and the Judeans, because the Israelites in the northern kingdom, Israel in the northern kingdom was already taken, and then Sennacherib and Shalmaneser, it was the same kingdom. They pretty much came back to Judea, and they were trying to get the rest of the tribes. And the kingdom of Judah was established already, and they were, I guess, more powerful because after Jeroboam's kingdom, or was it Rabbon, the Israelites pretty much had a downfall. And what history tells you is that the 10 tribes from then kind of just scattered. Didn't all go to America, but what we're getting into here is the battle between the angels and the Assyrians, where the angels supposedly killed like exactly 300,000 Assyrians. And when you go into the history of that to corroborate the Bible, which actual history does corroborate that story, which is great that it does, because it shows you that, okay, there's some things in the Bible that are true. But it doesn't mention anything about angels coming down to fight the Assyrians in battle. It doesn't mention that at all. So isn't that important that we point that out in history, and how there's a discrepancy there within the Bible and history? No, it doesn't matter. It's just,
When you keep
whatever.
reading, it tells you like his son came and assassinated him and all of that, which is actual history, So it's all written, which of course it could have been written afterwards. But I think what the Israelites did was add that little story with the angels, because I think if Sennacherib or any one of his soldiers had seen angels, come down and fight, I think that's something that would have been written. That's a big thing. So when I saw that, I'm seeing now you got two stories where one thing is in the Bible, but then you don't see it in Sennacherib's. Then I know that whoever wins.
Yeah. So there you go. I'm pretty much explaining to them that there's a story, same story in the Bible, is in history. In Sennacherib's prison, the Assyrian reliefs. You call the Assyrian reliefs as a bunch of history, bunch of artifacts. Sennacherib's prison is a fucking official artifact that doesn't mention angels coming down to fight the Assyrians. Why would the Assyrians not put that in, their manuscripts? If they want to warn the generations ahead, and the generations coming after them, of a God that fights for the Israelites and killed a bunch of our warriors, angels, wouldn't they put that in some type of manuscripts? No, they're gonna say, well, the victor always rewrites history, and they chose not to put that in there just because. All right, but then we can't corroborate that in the Bible. We can't corroborate that story in the Bible anywhere else. So it is what it is. We can't say it's true. It's all faith-based. These guys try to make it seem like they have actual concrete evidence of things. They always sound like they're so sure of what they believe in, because they probably are, but it's false. It's all based off false hope and false evidence. It's shaky evidence. And if you really start pressing them, you'll see it.
In history, whoever wins the battle usually writes history. So I know that that's a possibility, but at the same time, to me, it seems like the Israelites were trying to add that in to say that God is still with us, even through the conquest, because they were conquered by the Assyrians. So, why would the angels just come and fight one little battle? So that was a little off.
You see? They don't know how to respond to that, what I just said. Why would God send angels to fight one little battle against the Assyrians when history shows you that the Israelites got their butts whooped? Even the Bible shows you that. Why would God come and he come and killed all these Assyrians, these angels? Well, why didn't God just have them win the whole war instead of that one little battle, which resulted in nothing in history? It's as if that didn't even really happen, because they were losing anyways, the Israelites. It was too late. Why did God send angels to kill Assyrians when it was already too late? History doesn't tell you that that even happened. I don't remember what his
That's
response
something that
was.
opened my eyes a lot with some, the truthfulness that's in the Bible. But I don't know if you ever heard of that. With Sennacherib's prison.
He's
but
typing. He's typing it up. He's looking it up.
Yeah, you have all of it. You have the release where you can see the Israel bowing to
right.
to Sennacherib and all that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the release, exactly.
Yeah. So he pointed out there's a Syrian release where Jehud, the king of Israel, King Jehud, is bowing down to Sennacherib, and Jehud has straight hair. He's supposed to be a Judite. His hair looks straight. It's all coming down like straight. But he have a perm. That's what they're gonna say. And he has the hook nose. He has the hook nose, like a Jew, the classic Jew nose. They even drew that in the Assyrian reliefs with King Jehud. You're gonna tell me no? That's a black nose. That's KRS-One nose, right?
So yeah, that's one of the things right there.
All right.
So there's some history in the Bible. There's some great history. It's not nothing to just throw it away. I would still read the Bible, but there's those things.
Saini from 128 asks, does it say they appeared as heavenly beings or regular Israelite warriors? It says, it just calls them angels. It doesn't say that they appeared as warriors. It just says that the angels came down and killed a certain amount of Assyrians. That's all it says. That's an extraordinary belief. That's where my common sense comes in and says, come on now. And now that we have cameras and recording devices and all of that, now all of a sudden angels are not appearing. Now they're hiding, right? Yeah. But
that I'm very skeptical about.
And the majority of things that you're skeptical about is you feel like we talked on before we went live is what you would say the supernatural aspects would be where your main skepticisms come in.
Right. Yeah, I think that.
Yeah, so the supernatural aspects of things is where my skepticism comes in. Yeah, that's exactly what I told him before we went live. So I'm glad he's just being honest, about everything. It was just a few things that I think he's confused about when it comes to scientific evidence, But I want to get to the 2nd Ezra chapter 13 thing. I think it's at 1:25.
Navajo. Those are the ones that everyone knows, right? So that's why it may seem like that. But in truth, if you look at the majority, they're still patrilineal. Just like West Africa, like the Akan in West Africa are matrilineal. There's probably like 7 prominent matrilineal groups in the West Africa, but then all the hundreds of others are all patrilineal. So that's why it could I'm sure you see us interface with the conscious community guys like Jabari made the claim, well, West Africa is matrilineal. I mean, outside of the Akan who's matrilineal in West Africa, I asked him on tape. He never produced any other one tribe that was matrilineal, but just tried to paint the matrilineal picture predicated upon the Akan and the Akan's popularity being that they're from Ghana, and Ghana have the year of the return, and they're kind of the ones who are going out of their way to connect to African Americans. So there's that. You see what I'm saying? But truthfully, overall, it's patrilineal.
Okay. Yeah. The ones that I looked into was mostly the Seminole, what makes up the Seminole tribe. So yeah, that's the Choctaw, Muskogee, Creek. Muskogee is Creek. Chickasaw.
Yeah, the civilized tribe, the 5 so-called civilized tribes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, all those tribes, what they call the 5 civilized tribes, the Seminole Indians, they follow a matrilineal seed, whatever you want to call it. So you are who you are. It's all based off of your mother. So that causes a lot of confusion within the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, because there are going to be people right now in 2024 that say that they're Seminole Indians based off their mother's lineage. So you have the most famous Seminole of all time, which is Chief Osceola. His mother was a Native American. His father was a European. So how do we deal with that now? That causes a lot of confusion within the Hebrew Israelite doctrine. For the people that want to say that the Seminole Indians are Israelites, well, they go based off of their mother. So if you want to go based off of what they're saying they're Seminole Indians, but they've been basing that off of their mothers for centuries, for maybe even a whole millennia, or maybe millenniums. They've been doing that. But well, at least Seminole Indians, they haven't been around for millenniums. They've been around for centuries, known as the Seminoles, which is another problem with the Hebrew Israelite 12 tribes doctrine, because if the Reubenites are Seminole Indians, they've only been calling themselves the Seminole Indians since like 1755, man, or maybe 1800s. It wasn't that long ago that they've been calling themselves Seminoles. So who were the Seminoles before they were called Seminoles? There were 5 tribes, and they came from all around the United States. They even came from the northern parts or central, Midwest parts of the United States. How do you know they're not the tribe of Gad? Why aren't they the tribe of Gad? Seminole, Florida is in North America. If Gad are the North American Indians, Seminole Indians are also North American Indians. Why are you dividing them? Why are you separating them? That shit never made any sense. He couldn't really answer that though.
So let me see. Yeah, I was reading that second Ezra chapter. Second Ezra chapter 13. See, when I was reading that, now that I read it and I look at it from a neutral stance and I don't assume anything and I look at it as I don't see them traveling on boats in that scripture to America. I don't know. I don't see it anymore. When I read it, I see from verse 40, it says those are the 10 tribes. Then when you start getting down, I don't know if you want to read it, but somewhere around there, it says, I think it's verse 44, it says that the Lord held still the floods.
Until they passed over, right?
Yes, exactly. So my question is, why would God need to hold any floods if they're on boats?
Okay, I'm with you. Well, the first thing, just logically, I'm gonna hit the scripture on it because we have to take a look at the way
it's
that's
a good conversation.
Phrased in the Bible.
It's a good conversation.
We have to take a look at how everything is phrased in the Bible. We have to, not everything, but I mean the situations where they walk over something dry shod, like in the case of Moses, Joshua, Elijah, and even the prophecy in Isaiah 11, we see a prophecy about them literally waters being parted and people walking through it, right? Those are emphatic times. Then we have to look at that and juxtapose it to times where people are sailing over things, right? They're on a vessel and they're traveling over water, right?
Right.
So that's what leads us to this conclusion, because the phraseology here is consistent with that which they're in a vessel, right? Here's the scripture, read.
This is Mark chapter 6, just for the Passover.
That's Hassad right there. I didn't even realize Hassad was on there too. So these are the 3 main heads of the Sakari at this time. So that's Hassad reading. I didn't realize he was on it too. I thought it was just Hakah and Guerrilla Hebrew Alazar. But I actually was on a live stream with all 3 of these cats. I'm fearless like that, man. I don't give a fuck. I'm fearless when it comes to this stuff. Even if I'm wrong about something, I don't care, man. Because I think I'm confident enough that I know what I know. And there are certain things that I know that these guys, they can't explain. But they're trying to explain passed over. And they're going into multiple scriptures in the Bible that show you that Passover is usually associated with a ship passing over a body of water. But in the book of Joshua, chapter 4, verse 23, the book of Joshua, chapter 4, verse 23, shows you that they passed over the Jordan River on dry land. When it was dried up, they still passed over it. That's what happened with the Euphrates. What does the word Euphrates mean? This was my next thing. I didn't know this. See, at this time, I didn't know that Joshua chapter 4, verse 23 was a scripture that I can use to debunk what they're saying now. And I also didn't know the definition or the meaning of the word Euphrates. Do you know what the meaning of the word Euphrates is? The meaning of the word Euphrates is easy to pass over. Easy to pass over. It's easy to pass over the Euphrates. That's what they passed over. Because it says till they were passed over, that the Lord held still the flood until they were passed over. That means that the Lord stopped the river, the flood, rivers flood. Oceans don't flood, rivers flood. The Lord held still the flood until they were passed over. What did they pass over? So that's a question you ask these Hebrew Israelites. Excuse me, Hebrew Israelite. What was passed over? What did they pass over? Because they passed over one thing. One thing. There were multiple oceans and seas and all of that they would have to pass over in order to get to America. They passed over the Euphrates in order to get to that so-called land, according to the scripture, which I don't even think that's true anyways. You know, can't prove that even happened. But let's go based off of what the scripture says. Yeah, Mark 6:53. But check out Joshua 4:23. They passed over dry land. The river was dried or stopped. At least it wasn't flowing as hard, and they were able to pass over. That's why it says through that country. You can't go through a country when you're on ships and you're coming from Assyria to get to America. And my question is, what country did they go through? That's my question to anybody that says anything about America being Arsareth or Arsareth being America. I'll ask them when it says through that country, it took a year and a half. My question is, which country did they go through? The word Euphrates means easy to pass over. So obviously they were still going through a country. That means that they were on foot. How are you going through a country if you're on a ship and you're going to America when there were never even ships? These ships would have been found here in America. And it would have been an amazing find to say, yo, there are Assyrian ships that we found here in the coast of whatever, man, Brazil or whatever the hell. Where are the ships at, man? They just disappeared? How many ships were able to carry 10 tribes? That must have been a bunch of ships, and y'all didn't find not one piece of wood? Come on, man.
This is Mark chapter 6, verse 51. And he went up unto them into the ship. And
according to the Good News translation of 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 40 through 47, and right here, the KJV version of the Apocrypha, it's talking about the river Euphrates. They stayed in the Middle East, man. They didn't leave the Middle East. And historians will tell you that. Christopher Ralston is a historian and epigrapher that told you that the 10 tribes were never lost. We know where they went. They went somewhere and assimilated around that area. You're going to tell me that they left the Euphrates or the Tigris and they ended up in the Persian Sea is what it would have been. And then they went from the Persian Sea to the Indian Ocean, maybe. Where did they go from there? Did they go east? Did they go west? Did they go around Africa? Or did they go through the Pacific Ocean and hit the west coast of the United States and California? Or did they come from the east and hit the Caribbean like Christopher Columbus did? There's no real explanation of that because the Bible is not trying to tell you that they went to a whole different continent. That's insane, to tell you the truth. First of all, also where it says where no man inhabited, where no man dwelt, there were already people here. There were already people here in the Americas in 722 BC. None of that connects at all. And when you realize that the word Euphrates means easy to pass over, like, come on. Obviously, it's telling you that they passed over the Euphrates River. They passed over the Euphrates River. That's it. Just like in Joshua 4:23, they passed over the Jordan River. What did they pass over? It doesn't make any sense, man. Whatever they want to say, they Africa, like Africa. We're talking about coming through the Euphrates. How do you get to Africa coming out of the Euphrates? Because they say they took ships from Assyria. If you look at the map, Africa's over here, Israel's over here, Assyria's up here, and then they took ships, or actually it would be this way, to the Indian Ocean, and then they went around the Horn of Africa. I've had Israelites tell me all types of different shit because they scrambling to try to find something that makes sense. Every time they get shut down. The Persian Gulf, right? There's the Persian Gulf. There's the what's the sea that's over there? The Persian Sea, the Persian Gulf, whatever. That goes into the Indian Ocean. Then from there, you can go east or west, or south, southwest or east. If you go southwest, you have to kind of go south to get around Africa. You have to go south to get around Africa. And if they kept going that route, then that would have took them to South America on the eastern coast. So where are those ships that were found? There were never any ships found there. There was never any Hebrew found in the United States. I actually had a conversation and an interview that I put on my channel with Dr. Reniel Rodriguez Ramos from the University of Puerto Rico, who has the Father Nazario stones. And these cats from Sicarii are saying that, yes, that those stones have Hebrew, while the man, the archaeologist, and the epigrapher, Christopher Ralston, will tell you that these stones don't have any Hebrew. That shit don't make any sense, man. But the Sakari Israelites want to tell us, no, they did. They had Hebrew. As if they're experts, man. You guys ain't no experts, man. And they're lying to us, yo. They want to believe that they're Hebrew Israelites. It's very detrimental to their worldview for them to be Hebrew Israelites. If they're not Hebrew Israelites, their world is going to crumble under them. And it's tough. I've been there. I remember I used to think I was an Israelite, and then that shit stopped from one day to the next. And it was tough, man. It was tough from day to day. I had to really, really, take this shit serious. And it wasn't any malice behind my reason for looking into this. It was I wanted to fucking make sure I was good. I wanted to make sure I was all right. Because according to the Israelites, I'm going to hell if I don't believe this. So I want to make sure I'm right. I'm not going to make any mistakes. And, hey, man, I challenge these cats to a debate anytime on this 10 tribes breakdown. I know this cat got the Viva Yashar Allah series where he put up so many lies out there with Quetzalcoatl. You know, the feathered serpent that the Mexicans used to worship, the Aztecs? They used to worship Quetzalcoatl, who's a feathered serpent. They tell you that, oh, that's in the Bible. And it's not. There's no feathered serpents anywhere in the Bible. There's fiery serpents in the Bible. There's never any mention of feathered serpents. And they still bring that up to try to tell you, well, it's fiery serpents, but I guess because fiery starts with an F and so does feathered serpent. You know, what are you talking about? The Mexicans had no knowledge. The Aztecs and the Mayans had no knowledge of Jesus Christ. None. Of course they didn't. They were gone. Even if they were Israelites, they would have been gone before Jesus Christ got there. But they had no knowledge of Christianity. They had no knowledge of any Abrahamic religions at all. The shit that they were doing had nothing to do with Abrahamic religion. That's a fact. St. Ephraim says, this verse also factors into ICUPK breakdown, Deuteronomy 33 and 23. And of Naphtali, he said, satisfied with favor and full of blessing of the Lord, possesses thou the west and the south. Right. So the west and the south is talking about Argentina and Chile. That's what they say. But Naphtali was, I don't know where they actually were located in Israel. So when it says possess thou the west and the south, I'm trying to think. Yeah, but that's just something that they try to connect, which Chile and Argentina, even genetically, are so different from each other because Argentinians have a lot. There's a lot of Italian genetic up in Argentina. There's a lot of Italians and Jews. There's a famous YouTuber named David Pacman. He's Jewish. That Pacman is Jewish, but he's from Argentina, so he claims Argentinian, but he's Jewish. I'm talking about white Jewish. When you look at Chileans, they're more indigenous. They look more like Peruvians and Bolivians. You know, they're shorter. They look more Asian. That's how they look in Chile. So the fact that they try to connect Chile and Argentina is crazy because Argentina is completely separated on their own from Chile in every way possible. Germans fled to Argentina, right? They say Hitler's in Argentina. They say Hitler lived out his last years in Argentina. There was a lot of like Nazis and shit that were being sent out there.
And they were sore amazed in themselves beyond measure and wondered, for they considered not the miracle of the loaves.
That's
for their
Hassad
heart was
right
hardened.
there.
I just read that to get the context.
Right, they're on a vessel, right? Go ahead.
And when they had passed over, they came into the land of Gennesaret and drew to the shore.
So there was troubled waters. We know Christ here is rebuking the waters, calming them down, and that allowed them to pass over.
Right. But you know what also allowed them to pass over? If you go to Joshua chapter 4, verse 23, when the Lord dried up the Jordan River, then they were also allowed to pass over, and they weren't on ships. So what he's doing is going to one scripture that shows you where people were on ships and they passed over. But that terminology can also be used when you're not on ships. And that's what he's refusing to show people. So at this point, I didn't know about Joshua 4:23. I brought that up later when I dealt with another Sakari cat. And I started coming across shit later. It was like I was building an arsenal around this time. And having a conversation with them actually helped me understand where I can trip them up at and where they're actually trying to manipulate scriptures. Because why are you showing me Mark chapter 6, which somebody posted? Why are you not showing me Joshua chapter 4, verse 23? Because it doesn't bolster your point. It doesn't. So they don't go there at all. It's crazy.
Same exact type of phraseology in both instances. Also, we know, especially amongst the Native Americans, there's a saying, right, about still waters. What does still waters mean? Like a calm water, waters that are the opposite of the rapid raging waters that are dangerous and hard to navigate. So what it's saying there, what I'm getting from that is that the Most High ensured that the waters were still in order for them to pass over by.
Which country is that? Because it seems as if they're going through that country.
Okay, so yeah, that's
the next verse though. Like this is the one that got me right here. It says through that country. So there, we know which country is that? Because it seems as if they're going through a country. So through that country, it took 1.5 years. Now, if they're on water, how could they be going through a country?
Through a country, of course, and that's why something has to be looked at the original text. You have to look at the original.
Now you got to look at the original text now, because that through, he's gonna change the word. I tripped him up so bad that now he's changing the words of the Bible, man. Isn't that wrong? Aren't you not supposed to change the words of the Bible? But that's what he's doing.
The Hebrew of Second Ezra, of course, does not exist. That's why you have to get these exhaustive lexicons to take a look at things like that. Okay, because instead of through that country, if you look in the lexicon, it's supposed to say through that country. I mean, to that country.
To that country.
To that.
So if you look at the lexicon, instead of through that country, it's supposed to say to that country. Listen, y'all, I've searched everywhere for what the hell he's talking about here, and he couldn't provide it, the actual reference, and I couldn't find it. So he's just saying something, and people are hearing it Oh, yeah. We'll go with that because that is going to, suffice my belief. Yeah, okay, through actually means to. Wherever does the word through mean to? This is where I got him right here. So I actually have him on record saying that the word through actually means to. Now, when I deal with all these other Hebrew Israelites like Rabbi Wasap from the Miami fucking chapter of Sakari, he didn't say that. He just said, yeah, well, through that country is just talking about them going through through Assyria in the Euphrates. That's what he translated that to. And I'm like, what you mean? It took them a year and a half to get through that country. So you're saying it took them a year and a half to get through Assyria? What the fuck happened the other time when they got into the open seas? Because once you hit the open seas, you are not going through a country anymore. And he didn't seem to realize that, Rob Yabusap. This cat knows better, Guerrilla Hebrew. So he has to change the whole word through to be to that country. So that way it can all make sense. And magically now, I can still be an Israelite.
Right, but the average brother because these lexicons, like I said, I got
Yeah, this is all bullshit. This is pretty much where that ends, that conversation. Because there's more scriptures to deal with. And he tries to read the Good News Translation, which doesn't help him. The Good News Translation actually hurts him, the Guerrilla Hebrew. There's verse 47 where it says, and in the last days when they shall begin to come back, the Lord shall show miracles again, and he shall stay the springs of the stream again. A stream is a river. So which river is the Lord going to stay the springs of in order for the Israelites to come back? If they're in America. If they're in America, there's no river that they could stop the springs in order for them to get back to Israel. This shows you that this is not talking about them coming to America like Eddie Murphy. This is about them leaving Assyria and going to a country, a further country in the Middle East. They're still in the Middle East, man. That's why it says when it comes time for them to come back, that the Lord will stay the springs of the stream again. A stream is a river in order for them to come back. So that shows you that they didn't go very far. If all they have to do to come back is cross a stream, that's pretty much it, man. It's very simple. There's no way to break down Naphtali is the tribe of, or that Chile is or in Argentina is the tribe of Naphtali, because it says they're like a hind let loose, and they shall give goodly words. That's what it said. Another scripture says, possess thou the north, the west, and the south. The west and the south of what? Then we're all assuming it's America, but in 722 BC, there were already people here in the Americas. So when the scripture tells you where mankind never dwelt, that can't be America. Because unless you're talking about a certain part of America, but then I could say, well, a certain part of the Middle East wasn't inhabited. Maybe they went there. There were small parts of the world that weren't inhabited. You act like every single part of the world, towns, little small areas was inhabited. The 10 tribes wasn't even that deep like they try to make it seem. They wasn't even that deep. Like the Israelites, as a kingdom, as a people, there weren't that many of them like that, according to history. It wasn't millions. It wasn't even hundreds of thousands. But that's the truth. St. Ephraim, let me read some comments here. St. Ephraim says, through forever. From one side or one end to another, from the beginning to the end to the ultimate. To cross over, pass through, or overcome. Yeah, to pass through the Euphrates. Old One West taught that country is referring to the eastern coastline of Africa. Haven't heard anyone teach that in a long time, though. No, the country is Arsareth. The country that it's talking about, that's why it says through that country. Which country? Arsareth. Through that country, it took 1.5 years for them to cross, to get through. When you're going through a country, you're not on a boat. You're not on a ship. You're going through a country. Costa Rica, place Alaska. Yeah. The Native Americans, from the Chileans, the Incas, the Mayans, and the Aztecs, they didn't speak any Hebrew. Those are not Israelites at all. I had a conversation with archaeologists from Puerto Rico who told you that there have been people here for 15,000 years. Mexicans and all these indigenous people look very Asian. And the fact is that they came from Siberia. There were Siberian shamans who wore fringes, who smoked their peace pipes, and who had a similar language to these natives. There's no way that Puerto Ricans are Israelites. That there's just no way, man. That's something that we want to believe to make ourselves feel good. But if you actually go to the experts and stop listening to cult leaders, go ahead and listen to Dr. Reniel Rodriguez Ramos, who's Puerto Rican, and he'll tell you that the people of Puerto Rico did not speak Hebrew. I have a conversation that I recorded and put on my channel, and I want you to go ahead and check that out. And he'll tell you straight up, that's a lie. How many Hebrew Israelites have you heard say that the Father Nazario stones have Hebrew on them? Which is a lie. It's a straight lie. Whatever other artifacts you want to bring up, I researched all of it. There's the Los Luna Decalogue stone, which is dated back to it's dated to like the 1600s. And the type of Hebrew that's on it is Sephardic Hebrew, which goes back to, Spain. Because they travel by foot. That's why, because it takes longer to travel by foot. And that region, just like it took 40 years. How did it take 40 years for Moses to travel with the Israelites and still be in the same region, brother? I'm telling you right now, St. Ephraim, anything you say, I can debunk it. Nothing you say can make sense of the Israelites going to America, man. There were already people here. I haven't heard a response to that. If it says that wherever mankind dwelt, how come there were people already in the Americas? That doesn't click with the 10 tribes coming to America if there were already people here. According to archaeologists, they tell you that it goes back 15,000. I've even heard, if you go up to Alaska, 20,000 years. 40 years, and they made circles. Yeah. So that's why. That's probably what happened. And there's a whole bunch of people traveling. How could they take 1.5 years to get to America? It took about 33 days, I think. Or is it 63 days for Columbus to get to America from Spain? It's not going to take a whole 1.5 years, you know, just down to Israel. Like, that's not that much further. That's going to take a whole time longer when you're on ships, and especially if the waters were calm. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand how this became so believable. Like, how are you arguing with me right now? Like, we already went through the fact that Joshua chapter 4, verse 23 shows you that they crossed over or passed over on dry land. So it's possible that they were on land when they passed over. Now, what does the word Euphrates mean? The word Euphrates means easy to pass over. The word Euphrates means easy to pass over. That means that you can easily pass over the Euphrates. And it took 1.5 years for them to get to the region Arsareth, and you don't even know where Arsareth is at. So how can you say, well, it doesn't seem believable if it's still in the same region? Well, it doesn't seem believable that they also went all the way to America if there were already people here. There were already people here. How does Benjamin shall raven as a wolf mean that they are West Indians and Jamaicans? How does Zebulun shall be a haven of ships, and their border shall be unto Sidon? How does that mean that they're in Central America when it tells you their border shall be unto Sidon? It tells you Zebulun's border shall be unto Sidon. Sidon is not in the Americas. So how can you use that scripture to say they're a haven of ships means Panama Canal? And why do you start at Guatemala to Panama? When Panama Canal is in Panama, what the hell does that have to do with Guatemala? There's so many questions here, bro. And you're trying to make sense of it, man. Stop trying to make sense of this shit, man. It doesn't make sense. You're straight lying to yourself, man. I'm tired of hearing this shit. You're trying to, I see you in the comment section trying to make excuses, man. Yo, stop, bro. You're not an Israelite, man. You need to accept that, bro. And it's going to be okay that you're not an Israelite. Why do you need to be an Israelite? That shows me also that you have a bias where information that comes in, you have to interpret it in order to fit because you already believe that you're an Israelite. So you want it to be true, man. No. Through that country, it took 1.5 years. What country is a country? Africa? What are you talking about? If they took the Euphrates, they didn't even hit Africa. They went into the Indian Ocean. How would they hit Africa if they're going east? Oh, now you want to go into something completely different. Unintelligent design? If you are here, bro, are you calling yourself unintelligent? I don't understand what you mean. This has nothing to do, what we're talking about here with the 10 tribes breakdown has nothing to do with the creation and the beginning of man. Because how was God designed? Who designed God? And if you're going to say that we are a design that's very intelligent, and because of that, we require a designer, then your God also requires a designer because he's more complex and more intelligent than you are. So how come he doesn't require a designer? But how come we require a designer? Isn't your God more complex and intelligent than you are, but you say that he doesn't require a designer? Talk to me, brother, because it doesn't make sense what you're saying. How come your God, who's more intelligent and more complex than you are, doesn't require a designer? But you, oh yeah, we must be designed because look how we are. But your God is more complex and more intelligent than you, and you say he doesn't require a designer. So make it make sense, man. Come on, man. You think I haven't studied all these arguments before of the creation and all this, bro? We were talking about the 10 tribes, and now you want to talk about the, design, intelligent design. I'm telling you right now, man, if you knew that, if you had any evidence that you were designed by a God, you wouldn't need faith. You wouldn't need faith to rely on a creator. You would know your creator, but you see where you're going, bro? So you believe this all started with chaos. Bro, you're the one that says that you know how we got started, right? I don't know how we got started. It's actually a lot of missing pieces and evidence. But you're the one that claims that you know that we were created by God, right? Don't put it on me. They always want to switch it around and put it on you. The reason I shifted the focus of my comments is because you said stop making sense of things. Stop making sense of things. No, I said you're not really making sense basic, like, you know, scriptures where it talks about the 10 tribes, every scholar and every archaeologist will tell you that they knew where the 10 tribes went, and they were all around Assyria. They stayed around the Middle East. That's a fact. Why do you believe that? Let me ask you this. Why do you believe that the Israelites came to America? What is like the best, that's fine. What's the best evidence that you have that the Israelites came to America? What's the best evidence you have? What's the best evidence that the Israelites came to America? You know, because that's what I want. Like, if it's a scripture, we just went over that. We just went over that, man. Through that country, it took 1.5 years. How can you get to America if you're going through a country? Even if you say, well, they went to the Africa coast, but once you go into the open seas, you're not going through America. You're not going through a country anymore. So there had to be a point where they weren't going through a country anymore. They were going through the open seas. So it was more than 1.5 years, it seems, according to what you're saying. Bro, look where you're going, man. Can I ask you, how do you know that the Israelites came to America? You know who the real Israelites are? The ones that you read about in the Bible and the ones that you read about in history. That's who the real Israelites are. Everybody wants to hold on to something so special back in the days. Guess what? There was a time where there were no Puerto Ricans, right? And now there are Puerto Ricans. Why is that? It's because Puerto Ricans are a combination of Europeans, Taino Indians, and Africans. That's who Puerto Ricans are. There was a time where there were no Israelites. Remember, there was a time where there were no Israelites. And then there came a time when now all of a sudden, magically, there are Israelites. How did that happen when their ancestors came from Ur of the Chaldeans and all different parts of the Levant? What the hell is an Israelite anyways? That's all made up things that we created. You're an Israelite because you believe in Yahweh. And that's what an Israelite was. It wasn't based on no lineage or father seed. It wasn't even based on that at all. Because Esau is also of the same father's seed as Isaac and Abraham. And he's not an Israelite. So the way that you believe in genetics is all fucked up. Because if the father's seed determines who you are, doesn't Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, don't they all have the same father's seed? Didn't Jacob and Esau have the same father's seed? But they're not the same people? How did that happen? I thought that you believed that the father's seed determines who you are. Boy, hold on, but Jacob and Esau had the same father. So forget all that genetic stuff. Jewish people right now, it's a fact that their DNA matches to people in the Levant area up to 40 to 60% of their DNA. They have some white DNA. Stop trying to knock down one people to bring yourself up. You make a claim that you're the Israelite, and you're an Israelite. Prove what's the best evidence that you're an Israelite. I don't understand. Why can't you give me the best evidence that you're an Israelite without knocking down some Caucasian Jewish people who are 40 to 50% Caucasian? Part of what they are Middle Eastern. Yes, Caucasians and everybody ascended from Africa in the Kenya area. And they evolved from something that wasn't quite human. That's what I believe. That's what history and science shows. And guess what? Science shows you that the people that are in Israel today do match the genetic DNA of Middle Eastern people. They're not just white, bro. People aren't just one thing, unlike what your doctrine shows you. So my question is, what's the best evidence? That's true. That's right, random. Well, thank you for the random comment. But my question is, what's the best evidence that You're an Ephraimite. Saint Ephraim 128. What's the best evidence that the Israelites came to America? There's no evidence of that, man. The evidence, the so-called evidence of that is the Father Nazario stones. That has been debunked. The Las Lunas Decalogue stone, that's been debunked too. There's many different Europeans, bro. There are Italian Europeans. There are Spanish Europeans. They all are different in their own unique way. Now, a lot of the Jewish people that came from the diaspora from back then, they went into Europe. They went into Eastern Europe in places like Poland, and then they came back to the Israel. They are descendants of these people, but they're not complete descendants because there's no such thing as that. They've been mixed up. So they're not Caucasian. Go look up. Do you think Jewish people are actually considered just like white or something, European? Because Jewish people are not considered European. They're not European. They actually are connected to Palestinian DNA. Yeah, the diaspora went everywhere. They didn't go to the Americas. There weren't 10 tribes of people. That's a lot of people. How come there's no evidence in the United States or anywhere in the Americas of Hebrew or any Assyrian ships arriving to any of the coasts in America? And how come we have evidence of bodies like the Sunrise Child or the Anzic Child that you can find in the Americas before 720 BC, where the Israelites say, no, there was nobody here in this side of the world until the 10 tribes got here in 720 BC. Yo, they lied to you, man. You've been lied to, bro. We've all been lied to about this 10 tribes shit. First of all, Hispanics are mad white, man. If you're Puerto Rican, you have white in you. You're European too. Just like Jewish people. Just like Jewish people have some European in them, you have some European in you. What's that? I don't understand what's so hard to believe. And you just want to call the Jewish people just European. They're not just European. They're also Middle Eastern. Let me go into some of that. I want to look up the Anzic 1 child and the Sunrise Child too. Let's see. Alright, so hopefully this comes up. I've been looking into this for a while. It was the Anzic 1 was found in Montana, and it was a body of a paleo native Indian that actually have genetics that are connected to Siberians. You can't tell me that the Taino Indians and Native Americans don't look Asians. Don't tell me that Native Americans don't look Asians, because you're lying to me, man. Just like you can see European and Jewish people, tell me that you can't see Asian and Native Americans, man. Lie to me. Yeah, there is no pure race, man. There's no pure nothing, man. Like the father seed, man. What is that? There's no father seed. We're not fruits. We're not apples and oranges. That's not how it works. Like that shit's so stupid, man. Hebrew Israelites are so dumb. I love like getting on lives and just like debunking their whole worldview. I love the sound of just stupidity, you know? Where it's like they're just stuck. And then they try to, and then when you hear them trying to get around stuff, well, through that country, you mean too. What? Well, the definition of through a country, it means that you're crossing through. You're on land. You can't be on a ship. And there's no way that you could get around that. You know, like I know that you want to kind of ignore that, but the fact that the scripture says through a country, you want to say the country is America? That doesn't make any sense. They went through America for a year and a half? Okay. Now you want to redefine words. The word through could mean to pass over. This shit's crazy, man. You guys have a sickness, yo. I remember trying to force. You guys are trying to force the triangle into a square shape, man. And you just make it fit. And you break in the damn triangle. There's the Anzic boy. Anzic 1. Let's look this up. Two years ago, the Clovis people. Look up the Clovis people. Let's see here. 13 minutes, genetic history. Yeah, you gotta be careful because there's a lot of bullshit out here. 5 years ago. This is too long. Well, let's check this out. Check this out right here.
Hey everybody, I have a video here for you today, and my ancient Americans.
Yeah, I've definitely seen natives that look like Jackie Chan. I've seen Native Americans that look like Siberians. Have you seen a Native American that looks like a Haitian? Because if you're saying Native Americans and Haitians are the same people, have you ever seen a Native American that looks like a Haitian? Come on, son.
And he knew I found something that I was interested in, but this is a story that I find fascinating, and I want to share it today. And I haven't covered anything in Montana, and I'm trying to cover a story in every state. That is a little hard to do, so here's a story from Montana I find super important. But this is Wilsall, Montana, and you see these streams coming off of here, and this is fairly close to a region of the Northwest that Randall Carlson has talked about, fairly close. But what they found here in 1968 was super important to the investigation of what went on in the very ancient past in North America. And I just want to go to a few websites. Now here is sciencemagazine.org, and I will leave the link below. But here are some artifacts they found near Wilsall, Montana, 1968. When a little boy's skeleton was found. And it says, Native Americans descend from ancient Montana boy. And this is dated February 12, 2014. It says, in 1968, when Sarah Anzic was 2 years old, a construction worker discovered more than 100 stone and bone tools on her family's land near Wilsall, Montana. The artifacts were blanketed with red ochre. And with them, also covered with ochre, was a skull of a young child. In the years since, archaeologists concluded that the skull was about 12,700 years old.
In Montana, they found a skull that's 12,700 years old, man. You want to tell me that the Israelites were the first people in America in 722 BC? This was 12,700. You got the Anzic 1 boy. The Anzic 1 boy that was found. This completely destroys your whole worldview, man. And I know you're trying to make sense of it still, but it doesn't make sense. It's clear that the distance between Alaska and Siberia it's like Cuba and Miami. It's so close. You're gonna tell me there wasn't a migration? It's so close. Of course there was a migration. And the genetics tells you that. Not only genetics tells you that, but the hunting tools that they had, the Clovis spear that was used to hunt by ancient Americans, ancient Native Americans, is actually connected to ancient Siberians. What you got to say about that? There was no Israel or no Bible. There wasn't even a Bible. Abraham wasn't even alive then.
The oldest known burial in North America, and that the tools belong to the Clovis culture, one of the first in the New World. And red ochre, that has been found all the way through the mound builders site, so that must have been highly important. It says, meanwhile, Sarah Anzic grew up and became a genome researcher at the National Institute of Health and dreamed of sequencing the rare bones. And that is about maybe the fourth or fifth article or story I've done where somebody found something when they were young, and then it influenced what they did in their later life, and they became a researcher.
That's nice.
This week, she is the second author on a paper in Nature that reports the complete sequence of the Anzic child's nuclear genome, and that's, I guess, the name they gave this young
I'm
child.
gonna look her up. Now that I got her name, Sarah Anzik, I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna look her up. Because I didn't realize the Anzik 1 boy was named after Sarah Anzik, who was very young when she found this. And she became a researcher herself. I want to see if I could get in contact with her, because I got in contact with archaeologist Dr. Reniel. And, you know, because this research is not, it's like people don't really even care about this, or not aware, or they don't understand it. It's much more interesting to be, a Hebrew Israelite. Ooh, that's more interesting. It's like this stuff is kind of boring. And I know y'all don't want to hear this, but this is the truth, man. This debunks your entire worldview, man. This whole Hebrew Israelite shit is bullshit, man. You're not a Hebrew Israelite if you're Puerto Rican. You might be white, if anything. I mean, based on your logic, you're the father's seed. You might be an Edomite, man. Or a Hamite. Or whatever. Because, well, no, they think the blacks, you know, the blacks that were transported from Africa, who look just like their Hamite fucking enemies. They're Israelites, though. But they look just like Hamites, but they're Israelites. And Siberians and Native Americans who look exactly alike. No, they're not family either. But Mexicans and Haitians, they're the same people, right? Mexicans and Black Americans, Haitians and all of that, they're the same people, right? That's what you're going to say? But Africans who look just like Africans, or Judites who you want to say are not Africans, they look just like Africans, they're brothers with Mexicans who look like Asians. You're insane, man. Stop lying to yourself, man. You people want to be so special, man. And you can be special. But as long as you keep lying, you're not special. And nobody's going to think of you that way. It's just a whole false hope. And it's just a fucking fantasy, man. You're lying to yourself. You want to be black. Some of y'all Hispanics want to be black out here. And you hate the fact that you got white European DNA. Oh my God. Do you know how long ago the earth was all one big mass, bro? Because you're going to say it was 12,000 years ago. 12,000 years ago, there was already a separation, man. They already know that this world, the land masses at 12,000 years ago was already separated. So, no, you're wrong. You're wrong, bro. The land mass was not all one big thing, man. Stop lying. All right? They've never found, also, if there was one big landmass, how come they never found, like, kangaroo bones anywhere else on the earth? They only find that in Australia, which is a big mass. It's like, I mean, it's not considered an island because it's huge, but Australia is surrounded by water, like an island. How did kangaroos get from Mount Ararat after the Noah's Ark, get all the way to Australia, which is surrounded by water? Did they jump over the Indian Ocean to get to Australia? Oh, it was one big landmass. How come they never found kangaroo bones anywhere else in the world? They only find it over there in New Zealand and Australia. Bro, I'm going to tell you right now that you're not ready for the questions that I have. And you're going to say it's one big landmass. That one big landmass existed like 100,000 years ago. They actually tell you that the Pangea, is called Pangea, existed like millions of years ago, man. So in 12,000 years ago, there was no one big landmass. It was all separated. And 12,000 years ago, there were no Israelites. So how come we're finding bones in America? How come we're finding bones in America? There were people already here, and they weren't Israelites, man. They were fucking smoking peace pipes. They were eating pork, and they were going by a matrilineal type of ancestry that follows the mother's lineage, not the father's lineage. So that fucks up the father's seed, and we're Israelites. Well, how do you know that Seminole Indians are not largely European if they're going by the mother's lineage and they married a bunch of Europeans? They're no longer Israelites then, but you think that they are. Man, stop perpetuating these lies from 1 West 125th Street. Well, I just asked you a question about the kangaroos. Kangaroos evolved on their own in that landmass, man. And they came from a marsupial species. All right? Now, I want to ask you, how did kangaroos get from Mount Ararat after they came off of Noah's Ark, and how did they get all the way to Australia if at that time the landmass was already split? This was after the because how did Pangea split? You're gonna say it was because of the flood. Okay, well, after the flood, now you got kangaroos in Mount Ararat, right? They came off the ark and they hopped off the ark, Mount Ararat, according to your belief, and they got all the way to Australia. How come there's no bones along the way? How long would it have took them to get to Australia? Some of them would have died along the way, and we would be able to find bones. Like, history shows us that animals evolve in their respective areas because according to the weather, longitude, latitude, and their distance from the equator, all of that plays a part in how they evolve and what's going on in that area. Now, that's why you find polar bears in Antarctica, and you don't find polar bears in the Middle East. That's why there's no dietary law that tells you you can't eat penguins or you can't eat polar bears. Can we eat penguins and can we eat polar bears? I'm gonna ask, like, how do you know? They didn't even know about those animals, man. The people that were in the Middle East that wrote up the dietary law had no clue what the fuck a kangaroo was, a penguin, or a polar bear. If they did, show me where in the Bible it tells you anything about that. They had no clue what those animals were. But if God knew all things, how come they didn't know about that? Where are the penguins and polar bears and kangaroos in the Bible? Can we eat them or not?
Was it child?
Bro,
based on the
come
name
on,
of the
stop.
researcher or the person who found it. It says the sequencing effort led by DNA experts of the University of Copenhagen comes to a dramatic conclusion. The 1 to 2 year old Clovis child, now known to be a boy, is directly ancestral to today's native people from Central and South America. Their data, and very convincing, that the Clovis Anzac child was part of the population that gave rise to North, Central, and Southern American groups.
Yeah, those people gave rise to North, Central, and South American groups. All the people that were around 12,000 years ago. That's how these people became who they are today. They have nothing to say about no Israelites, man. This is not scientific at all. This is fantasy, man. This is like unicorn. You live in a unicorn world and shit. This is not, like, this is just not real, man. Like, the fact that your entire belief is dependent on faith shows me that evidence doesn't matter to you. It's all about what you can believe in, what's faith. But, you know,
as geneticist
need to be
Connie Logan
free.
Of the University of Florida in Gainesville. If correct, the findings would refute the Solutrean hypothesis.
No, there's an ice wall around Antarctica. A lot of these Hebrew Israelites believe the earth is flat. And this cat might be one. I don't know. There's a lot of Hebrew Israelites. Sakari believes the earth is flat. And they can't explain a solar eclipse. How do we have the shadow of the earth being round on the moon? It's a sphere, man. This shit's crazy. How is the sun a sphere? The moon is a sphere. All the planets we can see is a sphere, but the earth is flat. These cats are flat earthers, man. I'm telling you. That's why they don't believe that the Native Americans traveled from Siberia to America, because I don't think that they believe that that could even happen, because I think they believe there's an ice wall blocking fucking Siberia from America.
Which postulates that ancient migrants from Western Europe founded the Clovis culture. And that might do it in this individual case, but that doesn't say that the Solutreans were not here at one time. Here is Montana history revealed, and I guess they gave this child a reburial right near the original spot where this child was found. Here are some artifacts. Let's blow that up a little. Here are some Clovis artifacts.
I love how your argument is, well, my belief is faith-based, and so is yours. So we're all fucked. That's the two wrongs equals a who gives a damn doctrine. as if the Big Bang Theory doesn't have any actual evidence to support it. As if the Big Bang Theory doesn't have any actual evidence to support it. I know that you probably believe it's all faith based, but I mean, when you're saying that a man resurrected from the dead and came back and he was actually the Son of God and he was born of whatever, whatever the hell, he died for your sins. And if that's all faith-based belief and all you can say is, well, the Big Bang is faith-based, so we're all stupid. That's what you're trying to say? You're trying to put me in the same category as you by saying, well, we're all stupid. Well, guess what? The Big Bang belief or the Big Bang theory doesn't determine whether I'm going to go to hell or not. But your doctrine actually does tell you that if you don't believe that a man resurrected from the dead and he died for your sins, that you're going to go to hell, the Big Bang theory doesn't say anything about you going to hell. Your belief actually tells you that you're going to go to hell if you don't believe it. So what I believe is not, it doesn't even matter. Like, I don't have to know every little detail of the Big Bang theory. You're the one that's saying that God told you these things, or you're inspired by God. You should have way more evidence than somebody who believes in the Big Bang theory. Why are you putting it on the same category? Well, we're both faith-based belief, but you're dealing with God, and you're telling me God didn't provide you with any concrete evidence? Come on, man. Stop.
That were found near this discovery of the child. And here is an article from the Billings Gazette that says the child remains and the artifacts are from the same era. It says, according to...
You just completely abandoned how we were talking about the 10 tribes, man. That's why I came here. Now you want to talk about the Big Bang Theory and all this shit? That shit don't matter, bro. We're talking about what you think is so important that if you don't believe it, you're fucked. Guess what? If I don't believe, or if you don't believe in the Big Bang Theory, you're not fucked. So shouldn't you have more evidence for your belief? If I'm going to be fucked for not believing what you believe, even though it's all faith-based, shouldn't you have something better than faith? I don't understand that. This shit's crazy. That shit is insane, man. Your God actually said, you know what? Nah, I'm going to leave it up to your faith, whether you're going to be fucked or not. Wow, what a God, bro. Great God.
Search the so-called Anzic one child of more than 100 bones.
And by the way, your God created you after his own image. So that means your God has nipples. Your God has a belly button. The reason why people have belly buttons is because they were born and their mother's umbilical cord was once connected to that belly button. So Adam and Eve didn't have a belly button because they were never born by man, or of a woman, and neither was your God. So your God is has no belly button. What does he have? Nipples and fucking armpit hair, and he has teeth and a tongue and tonsils and shit and a digestive system. Does your God take a shit? Does your God have to poop? And is that where the term holy shit comes from? That's just a question I have.
Back to a time when woolly mammoths, American camels, and dire wolves roamed a lush area marked by huge, receding ice sheets. Here is an update on the story from June of this year, and they did some redating, and I guess there was a second child found here, and that one was found to be less than 10,000 years old, slightly, I guess, but the tools and the Clovis artifacts are solidly dated at about 13,000 years ago. But the redating of the Anzic one child, maybe not 12,700 years old, but maybe comes from the time period around 11,600 years ago. So both of those, either one of those dates, it kind of gets my antenna up. What exactly happened to this child 12,700 years ago or 11,700 years ago?
Yeah, that's an interesting little factoid right there. The Anzic one. I'm going to go see if I could get in contact with Sarah Anzic, man, where we could talk about some of this stuff. That's the type of people that nobody's looking for, So they'll respond, man. Like, you'd be surprised. These people will respond to you, man. Because when they find somebody that's interested in their work, they're like, oh, man, you really interested? You think this shit is real? Or you think this shit is cool? Because there's a lot of people that don't think this stuff is real. or this stuff is boring. Like history does seem very boring. That's why there's people like Saint Ephraim who they need something more exciting, you know. So it's like this Hebrew Israelite thing. It's so exciting to them, and it's like, you know, because history is boring, bro. Like we're just all. There's so many humans out here, man. You're just one of many billions of people out here, and if you can, you know, claim to be a Hebrew Israelite, now all of a sudden you're special. And it's like that's corny, man. That's corny as fuck, and it's sad, man. It's like, I think that's what largely is going on in the Hebrew Israelite community. It's people that don't think much of themselves, that want to be something and that never was something, you know. Now they can be something as an Israelite or whatever the fuck, you know. But that's a whole history class that we could get into another time. Yeah, and billions of people subscribe to the Quran too, man. None of that makes it real or true. That's called the argument from popularity, is what you're pushing, and which is a logical fallacy that says that because there are so many people that believe in this, it must be true. And that's just not true, man. Look up the ad populum argument, which says that because so many people believe in something that it must be true, man. Come on. There was a lot of people that believed the earth was flat. There's a lot of people that don't believe that now. So where do we go? Yeah, and the Bible subscribes to a lot of books that came before it, like the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Book of the Dead. The Bible subscribes to that. There's billions of Hindus as well, yeah. Yeah, man. The logic of a Hebrew Israelite, let me tell you, Saint Ephraim, the way that you were taught to think is so wrong, man. It's so wrong. That's why I can easily pick apart the things that you say. So when you came out and said that billions of people subscribe to the Bible, though, as if that makes it true, that's a clear logical fallacy called the fallacy of ad populum, or of popularity, you know, based off of the amount of people that believe something, it makes it true. No, man, that doesn't make something true. If you were raised in the Middle East or in Pakistan, you would be believing a whole different belief system. You would have a whole different religion if you were raised in a whole different country. You know, so just by chance you were raised in a country that people believe in the Bible. The reason why I came into the Hebrew Israelite religion is because I was raised in the Bible, and it kind of just went along with what I already believed. And then I got smarter. I think I got a little bit smarter than the average Bible believer, because I didn't really have any good reason to believe in the Bible, but besides the fact that I was raised in that shit. But yeah, if you were born in Saudi Arabia, man, you wouldn't be talking this Bible stuff. You'd be saying some hamdulillah stuff. Sad to say, but you know, that's what it is, man. This shit gets passionate. Every time we talk about this, it gets a little turned up. But I think that's about it, man. I'll leave it at that. We was talking about Sakari. We got into some of that 12 tribes breakdown, 10 tribes breakdown, and you know, I'll holler at you guys later. Appreciate everybody that came through. Saint Ephraim, thank you for coming through. Random, Jim Green, Mr. Reno, Jason Creed, everybody. You know I got much love for y'all. Built for Speed, much love to you. I haven't spoke to you in a minute. Actually, you know what? We got to talk. And everybody else, man, just you know, we'll get up another time. I'll holler at y'all later. It's been a good one. Talking about Sakari. Now it's a whole new Israelite group called the Genesis Israelites. And this is what religion does. It just spreads like a cancer, man. It just divides itself into something else, breaks off, and just keeps spreading like a goddamn cancer with no end in sight. The Hebrew Israelite religion just seems to be a great big part of all of this. It's not as bad as like some of these other religions. You know, I can't compare it to Christianity. Maybe in its heydays or in its latter days or whatever, its early days rather. I think that's what's going on with Hebrew Israelism. It's in its early days, and people are, you know, trying to find common ground and some truth in a lot of the bullshit and lies that go and spread around this community. There are a lot of lies that spread around the Hebrew Israelite community, and I'm just trying to pick and, you know, point all that stuff out because there's a lot, and I don't see a lot of people doing that. I don't think they understand it as much, but my brothers, my people, my sisters, my family, I love y'all. Thank y'all for coming through. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. This was the second video, part 2 that I did of the topic that I started at 9 a.m. at 9 p.m. I got, you know, the video got cut off and I had to start the stream again. So that's why there's a part 2 to this. But go check out the original one. Make sure you give this video a like and all of that and spread it. I might be doing something with Sakari soon. I'll put it on my channel. If I do, I might go on their channel. Let's see, I might crash their shit and talk about these 10 tribes, 12 tribes breakdown, all this garbage. You know, all the bullshit that they be spreading, man. I got the drop on them, man. So you already know, San Miguel. I'm gonna do what I do. Keep doing it. Keep coming through. Keep showing me love. Thank you, all right? Peace out, y'all. Have a